Good morning, everybody, and welcome to HJ Goes Live. Today's session is called Shadow the Roots, Speed Up the Ends, and it's supported by Pulp Riot. And today we're joined by Sarah Black, who's the colour director at Adam Reed London. She took home the big one at the L'Oreal Colour Trophy in 2017, and in both 2019 and 2020, she was a finalist in the British Hairdressing Awards Trend Image of the Year category. Sarah's really well known as colour director of Adam Reed London, and she's all about pushing boundaries with her total hair transformation and is very aptly known as the colour queen. Oh my God, that's such a tongue twister amongst the team. And I'm really excited to welcome Sarah today because she's going to be talking about Pulp Riot Liquid Demis and the colour trends that she sees on the horizon. Welcome, Sarah.
Morning.
AKA the colour queen. Okay, I got it that time.
Not self-titled, can I just say?
Just do a little hairball there. Well, I'm pretty excited to say to you all today that there's a gorgeous collection in the most recent edition of Hairdresser's Journal that Sarah created using Liquid Demis. I'm just going to do a little show and tell here. Yeah. But for the uninitiated, Sarah, tell us, what are Pulp Riot Liquid Demis?
So I would say Liquid Demis are going to be like one of your kind of best friends when it comes to like toning. That's definitely like where I've kind of fit it into my my day in the salon. So I think adding depth back into blondes, adding depth into colour has been something that we've been doing for a long time, but in the last few years has been such a focus. And it's kind of the perfect product to create depth back in and quickly, because I think we all know that colour now is just like so time consuming and much longer than it ever used to be. And also the time at the basin is quite a long time. So to have anything that cuts down our time within those services and to kind of speed up the process for the client a little bit so it's a little bit more comfortable, that's kind of been where I've put this in. It's a demi-permanent product that comes in liquid form. It's a really lovely consistency that's almost a bit like jelly almost. So you don't really you're not mixing too much colour. It's not going everywhere. It makes it nice and clean. So it means you've got control as to where you're putting your depth again. They're just really lovely, like a really lovely result, but also you can have the option to be quite soft and translucent, but then also within a short period of time, you can add a proper opaque depth back in, which I think sometimes you're missing in ranges, but without going to a permanent, like that then looks heavy. So although it's like opaque depth, it doesn't look heavy, which is really lovely.
Cool. So I want to know what your top tips and tricks are that you have when it comes to using Liquid Demis.
For using them, I would say, like I said, they are true to tone and true to depth. So if you're using a 5 on the shadow at the roots or whatever, if after some like highlights or baby lights or anything, you are going to get that 5 if you do. Whereas sometimes previously you'd think, I'll put a 5 on because it's probably going to come up like a 6 or a 7. It is true to depth, true to tone. So that's kind of like something that we definitely want to put out there, so you're not feeling like anything's going too dark. But then also there's a really they have boosters within the range, so they're pure tone pigments, so you can kind of just create whatever you want to create. You can they're all quite cool based as on their own, but you can come in with a warm to build up that warmth and create an endless palette. So boosters have been a big part of what I've been using when working with them, to kind of just add that little bit more richness, and that which is now the time where we're seeing that coming back through. So they're kind of definitely not to be left on the side and missed out. It's something that you really want to formulate in with your other tones.
Cool. So they're really versatile, they're easy to work with and easy to control. Yeah. Have you got any other favourite things about Liquid Demis?
Honestly, I think my favourite thing is the speed, because we're always working, like, you want to kind of get everything done in, as from a financial point of view, you want to kind of reduce that time frame that you've got your client in the chair, because you can be with somebody else. So if it knocks 15-20 minutes off your service time, that's such a saver for a salon and for a colorist.
And you were, before we started recording, you were saying how you work those long days.
Yes.
And that must be such a benefit to have something.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think we all, especially after the last 18 months, 2 years, you know, I think it's working a bit smarter and choosing the right products that's going to help us produce the same standard and the same results, but by just making our lives a little bit easier.
Why make it harder for yourself? So what colour trends have got you excited at the moment? And feel free to be as specific as you like.
Okay, so I would say that the thing I've noticed this year, coming back since April, is there's this newfound like confidence in colour with clients. People are coming in and they're asking for, you know, less mainstream things. They're seeing what's being done, they're seeing what's out there, and they're seeing it can be done, like creative colouring can be done within still a wearable and beautiful way. So I think that being maybe not a specific to an actual hair look, I think this confidence that people have got now within colour is so nice. It's for us to be able to experiment and create day to day and not just on creative projects. Yeah. So that's really been lovely. I think this year has been the year of copper and oranges. I think everyone has started to embrace those tones, which once upon a time, you know, it was quite niche to find people that wanted to be coppers, reds, vivid oranges, that kind of way. And I think that's been a massive thing this year. And I think that's the fact that came out in the summer has been so nice, to not just boxing it into the autumnal shades. Yeah, exactly. So
do you think it's a kind of revolt from those years of, I need silver, I need night?
Yeah, I do. I think warmth is something that I've always embraced, and I actually try and steer my clients away from anything that's like too ash and cool, unless it's again in a creative world. Because you can then get like the strength out of it. Whereas if it's just on a blonde, it just ends up looking a bit lifeless and dull sometimes. So to give that slight bit of warmth in there, to add a little bit more brightness, a little bit more expensiveness, in my opinion, to that is really nice. And I think to the fact that we're going to the extreme now, that people are wanting the strawberry blondes and the light coppers and not just like deep auburns is so lovely.
So true. And what do you think is the biggest challenge that's facing colorists right now? I mean, there's been a lot of box dye disasters that we've all heard about and shuddered about over the last 18 months.
Yeah.
Is that something that springs to mind? Or?
What was that?
Is that something that's like forefront of your mind as a challenge, or is it something completely different? And
I've been really lucky that I've not had to deal with that too much. I've seen it online and I've like done my prayers and not had to deal with that too much. I think when it came to the first lockdown, I kind of put a lot of information out there. I had roots down to here, and I thought, if I'm not doing it, if I don't feel capable of doing it, you shouldn't either. So to be honest, nothing's been too crazy for me, and I appreciate some people have had to definitely deal with that. I think now we're definitely on the other side of it. But I think the challenge that definitely we faced this year has been expectation. It's something that we speak about a lot, but I think last year, July, when we opened, people were grateful, people were happy, people were just like kissing your feet because you were able to see them again, right? But when it hit, we'd passed through winter, we'd gotten into April, it was spring, so we'd dodged an entire season. People wanted spring hair, but hadn't been to the salon since November. And that was so difficult because people were going, but hang on, I'm not blonde enough. And it's, you're kind of saying, well, you've not had your hair done in 6 months and we've got a standard appointment, and, you're fighting expectation. And as soon as I realized that that's what the expectation was, you kind of were like, right, well, now I need to communicate better. That we were all on the same page last year, but now it seems like we were on different pages when we came back in spring. So I think we're in long enough now that we've kind of dealt with that, and we're phasing it in. But I think that comes with it, that we've all had bigger colour jobs to deal with, which then time has been such a problem, because you're trying to see everybody, but your standard, I don't know, set of highlights that might normally take you an hour and a bit is kind of going 2 hours because you've got so much work to do, but you don't have that time. So you're kind of just trying to do the most in the shortest amount of time, and charging the right amount, and all those kind of things come into play. And I think now more than ever, bigger colour jobs are just the norm. Mm-hmm. So managing our time, managing what we're charging, the product we're using. I think we all get a bit funny about charging more, or you get a bit nervous, and that's, I hear that conversation so much going on through our industry, and we get a bit nervous about it all, which is really strange. But you kind of feel you have to kind of go, hang on a minute, no, I'm working for 2 hours on your head just to apply a colour. So you have to kind of have that confidence to go, this is what I'm charging, and obviously communicate it. But I think that's something that we're definitely facing now, because colour jobs are so big and so transformative more than ever.
That's such an interesting point, because you don't get that kind of lack of confidence in a lot of other industries, do you? It's like people charge for, the only one I can think of is like finance and banking. That's like, if anything, they're charging over.
Yeah, you go to the dentist and you don't go, oh, hang on a minute, that wasn't really what you just go and you pay what you were there for. You got what you got.
I'm in 2 minutes, in and out at the dentist.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what am I paying for?
Hang on a minute. Exactly. So yeah, I think it is a really strange, it's such a weird topic, and money is always a strange topic, but I think as soon as you go, no, hang on a minute, I'm worth every bloody penny of this. Yeah. You can kind of justify it and feel that confidence. But yeah, I think actually if we vocalized it, our clients would probably be okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, has anyone ever refused to pay for a service?
No.
Yeah.
And I think now, again, because of what kind of services we're doing, for the most part, especially with new clients, I'm having consultations.
Yeah.
So you're kind of saying, you're getting all that out in the start and putting your cards on the table and going, this is what it is. So whether you choose to book or not, that's fine. But the thing is, it's not worth undervaluing, because at the end of the day, you're probably losing money.
Yeah. The only person that you're damaging is yourself.
absolutely. So I think, and I'm sitting here saying that I definitely have those moments where I go, oh God, okay, right. But you just have to say, no, hang on a minute. Like, you want a different head of hair on your head in a 3-hour time slot. So I am going to have to bill it.
Yeah. And it just stresses the importance of a consultation and like an honest, almost like a therapy session. Like you just get everything out on the table, like you said, and take it or leave it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, we want everyone. I think you get that whole thing. You're like, you want people in your chair, and for me, I've been in London since July now, so I am building a clientele, and I'm still doing that. And sometimes you think, well, it's probably just better for me to have somebody in, but that's not always the way. Like, it actually is like, well, once you do it, you set the tone, and then it's harder to then put it up down the line.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to make sure you're setting the tone for them.
And you want to be doing work that you're proud of, not that you're rushing to finish in a time miscalculated, but whether
absolutely
not,
absolutely.
So onto the topic of inspiration, where do you get it from?
Where do I get it from? I
always hate this question, by the way.
You know what? Because it's like, oh, fashion art, and like, you know, a lot of us have that same like go-to points.
Yeah.
I love looking back. I'm a huge like fan of eras, so I'll look back to see what was, and then I like to kind of see what I can do to kind of freshen it, modernize it, polish it, like whatever I can do to kind of put a little twist on it. Because you know, with everything, it all comes back around. And you know, specifically, like I'm a huge like 70s, like that's generally where I'll go into, like if I'm looking for references within like the music industry and like the punk culture specifically, and then like the 90s again. I like everything that was a bit grungy, and then I like to kind of go, right, how can I make this wearable and more expensive?
Nice. Okay, yeah, like elevated grunge. Can we
go with that? Yeah. Let's do it. So I'll go down that route, and then as much as everyday life, like, and I mean, I'm not a, you know, nature doesn't kind of, I get it, but it doesn't draw me in. It's people, it's characters, it's like I like to think, God, you look like how I want to feel, and you look so cool and so whatever, and like that's how I would want to feel. It's almost a confidence and an attitude that I feel inspired by. So when I shoot any collection, when I shoot any creative work, you know, I don't book out loads of agency models I've never met before and all that. I bring in people that I know, that I've worked with before, that are like weird and like so fun to work with, and they just exude this like either strangeness or like coolness, or you walk past and go, I want to be her. And that's how I always kind of think about when I'm creating, like how would they want to feel and who wants to look like her. I think because we all do that.
We do. Yeah, I mean, I do. Hands up.
Yeah, she's so cool, I want to be her. Like, but then you kind of project it in a way that fits on that person and what fits their personality. So definitely like attitude, like the Debbie Harrys of the world and the Joan Jetts and the Kate Mosses, and you know, so it can be something that's quite extreme, and then it can, you know, Kate Moss has never done anything wild with her hair, but it's always a reference because it's cool and she exudes that. So that to me is definitely like where I look down. And then of course when it comes to maybe color and things like that, definitely fashion and art like is something that I'll like, endless coffee table books and things like that, you know.
What's on your coffee table at the moment, may I ask?
Oh my gosh, so I'm spread everywhere. So there's a Alexander McQueen book, the Unseen book, that I picked up last year. That's really, I mean, his colors are so like, and they are grungy, and there's that element of like darkness to it all, which I love.
Yeah, like dark glamour.
Yeah, so that's on there. It's so funny because I moved last year from my flat in Scotland. I've got a stack that my family definitely want to throw out from there.
Don't let them.
They will never. But we all know living in London is like you're in a shoebox. So Guido is somebody else that I'll look to, because again, it's that like imperfect grunginess. Like, again, it's obviously editorial, but yeah, I've got a couple of his books. So yeah, a bit of everything. And
you can definitely see kind of the punk influences in your collection.
Yeah,
tie that back if anyone, it's the November issue of Hairdressers Journal, so definitely pick it up. And this is totally, like this one in particular, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like elevated grunge completely.
Yeah, so her hair, this is another thing, like that even the what they're wearing can bring the element of the punk, even if the hair is a bit prettier, but then the styling might incorporate something a bit punkier, that even though the color might be just really pretty, it's kind of just mashing up.
Yeah. And like the three models from this shoot, I would be like, they're the people on the street that I'd be like, oh, I really want to take a picture for some hair inspiration from them. Like they feel like I'd like cross them on the overground and be like, hello.
Yeah, exactly. And they're not agency girls, like they're you know, one of the girls, Jean, who's got the little apricot and rose gold frock, she's a model, she's done loads for me, she's brilliant and she's so strange and I love her. And yeah, there she is. But yeah, the other girls were just like normal girls, and I think that's what misses the mark sometimes, because it's not relatable then. Because you can look at somebody and go, God, I want to be them, but I could never be them. Whereas you could look at those girls and go, I want to be them, but I could probably go and look like, you know, feel a bit of an inspired by them and take that's my hairdresser and go, well, it's, you know, it's not unattainable, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So on that point, Sarah, have you ever said no to a client's colour request? Have they ever come in with something so ridiculous that you're like, hun, no?
Yes. And that's how I say it. I go, hun, no. Yeah, I do, and that's okay. I think that took a bit of time to learn that.
Yeah,
but it's for the best. It's both parties' best interest sometimes to say no, because, and it could be so many different factors of whether you don't have the time in that moment, but you think, well, I don't want to say no because she's here, but then it's like, well, I'm actually not going to do my best work. I'm not going to get you what you want. It's not going to be, you're going to feel rushed. I'm going to be stressed. That's not fun for anyone. So not right now, but let's find out time, or no, that's not possible. But I think that if you communicate, which is maybe easier said than done, but I think you can sometimes fake it a little bit, but if you communicate confidently, and if you like, I think if you just argue a point and it doesn't seem like you just don't want to do it, or I think if you communicate it properly, they'll feel, right, okay, actually I trust her, and if she's saying it, I should probably listen. Because I think that's at the end of the day what we're all trying to do, is we're trying to gain somebody's trust. And that's, we all will say, oh God, I don't trust that with that person with my hair, or oh, I only trust such and such with my hair. And I think so many people will say that, and that's essentially what we're selling when we're doing our job, to gain those clients long term.
Yeah.
So I think when you speak confidently and kind of argue your point, and I've worked with people over the years, and I've heard on social media and this, and it's like, I think because we've got so much information out there, you expect the client to know, but we don't want them to know. But when they come in and go, I want this, you go, no. And you're kind of a bit patronizing, and you go, no, you can't have that. You know, if anyone asks me for a Kim Kardashian transformation, I'm going to just let, you know, and I think they don't know that. They, you know, we're here to educate and say, actually, this is the tea. This is the, you know, this is what it all is about. And I think if we educate and say it confidently and in a like non-patronizing way, they'll eat it up, and they'll trust you, and they'll say, okay, fair enough. Maybe not everybody. We'll be people that, you know, won't be interested in hearing no. They'll go somewhere else, but that's fine. Most of the, you know, you're happy to lose a few that aren't going to be good. You know, if they don't understand it and they don't want to wait, don't put that on yourself, because the chances are they're not going to be happy if you rush it and do it and it's not what they want. So I think it's all about confidence and communication, and saying, just explaining it and breaking it down for clients if you've got to say no.
I feel like you're giving great life advice here, not just colouring advice.
General.
I mean, it works across.
Absolutely. I think we've all learned, if you don't want to go to the party now, just say no. You know?
Such a motto for this year.
Exactly.
So on the topic of advice and dishing out some good advice, what would you say to trainee colorists right now, so people coming into the industry, maybe fresh, or they've been training for a couple of years in the toughest of times?
But
yeah,
it's been so, that's really like who's taken, I mean, we've all taken a hit in a way, and business owners have taken massive hits, but for the younger generation of up and coming, it's like, it's so hard because it's been such a pause on everything. And we've got a couple of girls at the salon that are actually, they're training today, doing their like foundation color knowledge. And that, I was saying this to them last week, like that was the game changer for me way back when. So the knowing your stuff and knowing your fundamental basic knowledge, forget about all the like the creative and the this and that and the next thing, and if you know that core information and you know it well, you'll use it every day, and then you'll use it creatively, and you'll use it when, you know, it's like anything, it's like when you do session work, you need to know your core things, like your foundation training, your sets, this, that, and the next thing, to be able to go in and do everything else. So that to me is like learn your stuff and try and retain and soak up as much as possible. And right now it's hard. Training's been paused, but there's so much out there. Communicate with your bosses, communicate with whoever's training you. Say, who should I be looking at? Who should I be watching? Because we didn't have this when I was training. We didn't have a plethora of people going, here, have this information for free. So to have that out there, I think, is the best thing for them. And it's a bit of patience. It's hard, but I didn't have much of it when I did mine, but I think that it helps if you do. Definitely.
Yeah. So like walk before you run, kind of. Right?
Yeah, and in any respect, like I was running a marathon when I was like a year into training, and then I was like, hang on, this isn't
not sustainable.
This is not right. Also, yeah, it's like you kind of we just, everything we can have in life now, we can have it like that. So I think when things, we don't have patience, and that's myself included, you kind of go, well, I'm going to order that, and I'm going to next day delivery, and I want it here, and I'm going to do dinner, and I'm going to have it like in 30 minutes sent to my house. Like all these things, we can have it like that. But when it comes to learning your craft, patience is 100% needed and necessary.
Nice. And you know what we need to do? We need to bring up your dolly head.
Oh, it's having a nap
as well. So,
not about her. Here she is.
Oh, hey. What's her name?
Geraldine.
Oh, cute.
Obviously. So this was so the whole Shadow the Roots Shadow the Roots Speed Up the Ends is definitely like our commercial way of using the liquid demis and then the high speed toners, which if anyone hasn't tried the Pulp Riot high speed toners yet, oh my god, they are so good and feed into the whole thing I was talking about, like timing wise.
Yeah.
And the result you can get within 5-10 minutes is like the result you'll get from putting something else on maybe for like 20 minutes. So like it's insane. And you can dilute as much as you want. So you can kind of do like a 1-to-1, a 1-to-2, 1-to-4. So actually, if you've got 20 minutes and you want to leave it on, do it, because you're going to use less color, you're spending less money. So that's great. Your boss will be happy. But if you need that speed and that tone fast, you can mix 1-to-2 and have it like that. So I didn't do a shadow and ends on here because I thought I'm going to show it in a little bit of a different way, because and this is again a lot of the time how I'm using it as well. So creating depth. So she was screaming yellow. I've never seen such a yellow blockhead in my entire life. So I actually pre-toned her with the pale pink from the high speed toners, but quite a high ratio, so like a 1:4 ratio. So it didn't come out pinky, but it just knocked off a lot of that yellow.
Oh, cool.
But not to take it down as much of like as a mauve. So that's how she kind of started. And then I've used the high speed toners in natural and pale pink through here. Now she's changed from when she was in my house in London to where I am now. So she looks different in the lights, but it's almost like a bit of like a minky tone. Yeah. Because I've done the natural, which is like a beige, with the pink in there to give it that little bit of iridescent-y kind of colour. So she's got that little minky tone going on. Under here is where I've placed the Liquid Demi. So you've got that little bit of depth around her face. Yeah, you'll see there. So that went on top of, after the tone all over, I did this after the fact. That's a 5 on for 10 minutes.
Cool.
So you get that so quick.
She's quite Debbie Harry. Sorry, I've got a cough. I'm definitely getting the Debbie influence.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's always in the back of my head. Yes. So we did a little bit of a focal point just to add a bit of depth and shadow around her face, using the 5/8, which is like it's just like a true brown, but it's got they're my favourites, are the -8s in the Liquid Demi shades, because they're just rich. Just a rich neutral colour. They're not overly warm, overly cool. I really love them, and they're perfect for a shadow because it looks natural. There's not too much tone within your shadow. And then I'll give her a little spin round. So I kept her actually a little bit lighter in the back underneath, because I wanted that to be the strength, and then almost just you're not really focusing your eye elsewhere. And that was the result. You'll see, like I said, she was screaming yellow, and I wanted to show you a little bit of this result. That was the result of putting the pale pink on top of, honestly, it was like canary yellow. So that kind of, it just brought it to like a really nice neutral blonde. And I like the idea that it just kind of comes to nothing, and it's not just more dark underneath, because that's kind of what you could then just go right around with the depth.
That's what I was expecting. Yeah, I love it. A little surprise.
Yes. So that, you know what, I'm going to leave her a little bit of lightness, and it just kind of works where it just gives that little bit of softness to the ends. So you're not getting loads and loads of strength, but you've got that strength right around the face, and then it adds a little bit of light in around there. So yeah, I honestly, the high speed toners are a staple for me now, and since the launch of the Liquid Demis, it's something that I'm really enjoying, because you can get that depth in so quickly, and that's what we need. And it's a nice depth. It doesn't look flat, it doesn't look dull. I'm a massive fan.
Geraldine looks amazing. I'm just about to have a coughing fit.
Okay.
So, I'm going to say,
live TV.
Live TV, indeed. Let's end it there before I expire.
Oh God, I told you off, Charlotte. Sorry.
I'm so emotionally affected by Geraldine's transformation.
Her beauty.
It's been absolutely wonderful to chat to you and find out a little bit more about what makes you tick and like all the colour inspiration. And thank you for going into so much depth about where you get your inspiration from, and not just saying nature. It's so much more interesting. And a huge thank you to Pulp Riot as well for sponsoring this session. And you can see Sarah's latest collection in Hairdresser's Journal latest issue, which is the November issue. So grab your copy, have a look in our digital magazine, and it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. See you soon, hopefully. Bye.
Bye.